If you're interested in propagating plants from cuttings, it's important that you know the difference between softwood cuttings, hardwood cuttings, and semi-hardwood cuttings. In this video, I'll show you the differences so that you know which cutting is which. What I'm not going to do in this video is show you how to actually take the cuttings and root them. I've done separate videos on that, and I'll put links to those at the end of this video. It's the first week of summer, and I went out into the garden and cut one of the growths off one of my lilacs. I then took off half the leaves, so every second leaf I took off just so that you can see the stem more clearly. This end of the stem was attached to the main stem of the lilac, and this end is the newest growth. If you have a look along this stem, you'll notice that this end is thicker and darker green. And as we move along the stem, the color gets lighter green and thinner. And down at the end, we have quite a green stem. The other difference between the two ends is that this one is very flexible. Notice that I can turn this almost back on itself and make a loop. And in fact, on some shrubs, if you do this early enough, you can actually tie a knot in this end. This end, on the other hand, is quite stiff already. I can still bend it, but I can't bend it nearly as much as this end. This end is a semi-hardwood, and at this end we have softwood. And the differences are the color of the wood and the flexibility of that wood. If I want a semi-hardwood cutting, I'm going to take it from this part of the stem. If I want a softwood cutting, I can take it from this part. Normally what you do is that if you know you want softwood cuttings, you would do this much sooner. So I would have done this about a month ago when everything is nice and soft. The whole piece would have been softwood 3 or 4 weeks ago. And so if you know you want softwood cuttings, you do it earlier in the year. If you know you want semi-hardwood, you do it a little later. So the midsummer is a good time to get your semi-hardwood. The problem with propagating woody plants is that we don't always know which end is going to root the easiest. Sometimes it's a semi-hardwood, and sometimes it's a softwood. And many times we don't know. Now you could go online and do some research and find out which way is best, but I have a different solution. I like to collect my wood at this time of the year. I'll cut this one into a cutting here, get another cutting in the center here, and another cutting here. And what I end up with is a mixture of woods, some semi and some softwood, and some halfway between. Then I try to root all of these. Sometimes these root the best, and this doesn't root at all. On other types of shrubs, this end roots really well, and this end doesn't. The other alternative is you go out and get cuttings every 3 or 4 weeks, and some will be softwood, and there'll be semi-hardwood, and then hardwood later on in the year. If you want hardwood cuttings, you would normally take those mid-August to early winter. Hardwood cuttings will be very dark in color. There'll be a brown that looks very much like the bark you expect on trees, and it will have very little flexibility. You won't even be able to bend it this much. Now that you know which cutting is which, it's time to learn how to root them. I've put together a series of videos on vegetative propagation, and I'll put a link to those at the top right-hand corner. If you're interested in propagation from seed, I also have many videos about that, and I'll put that link in the right bottom corner. I hope you have fun propagating your plants.